Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. My name is Joseph James, schooltrade.com, sidewaysmarkets.com. Welcome to our live trading recap. It's October 27, 2010. Guys, I want to remind you guys real quickly, on Friday mornings now, we're doing a special beginners training on Friday mornings. All right, I know things move pretty quickly in our live trade every day. If you're a new trader and you're looking for a little bit more help with using charts and the basic fundamentals of being a trader, guys, Friday mornings at 11 o'clock, once we're done trading for the morning, it's going to be the beginner's questions and answers, guys, right in our live trade room. If you're a beginner, if you want me to slow things down a little bit and give you that firm foundation of knowledge about what you need to know about the who, what, where, when, and why of trading, Friday morning, guys, make sure you guys are there. All right, October 27th, 2010, though, happy Wednesday to you. Had a challenging day. Now, before we talk about the trades we took today, I want to remind you guys of the blog. The blog has all kinds of great stuff on it, guys. You've got live support there. You've got our YouTube link, right? Go to the YouTube page. On the YouTube page, right, look at trader tax or look at chart types, right? Look at the 3-strike rule. Lots of videos on the YouTube page. And then don't forget, guys, up top here, up top of the blog, you've got 2 important sections, Trade Room Resources and webinars. All right, guys, click on Trade Room Resources up top here, and you're going to see a wealth of information, guys, that will help answer questions you may have about our live trade room. Right? Want to know more about different chart types or about trade management? You can find that all, guys, under Trade Room Resources. All right, guys, and don't forget, come here on Friday, guys, Friday morning for your beginner's course basics. All right, guys, as you see here, 2, 4, 6, 7 total trades. That darn red. I hate that red, right? Took a big loss on gold last trade of the morning. Had 2 losses on gold today. Did a really good job at forgetting about my rules. Final trade of the day. We'll talk to you guys more about that here in a second. As you can see, though, was able to keep a little bit of profit in the account this morning. 38 ticks, 380 USD. That brings our weekly total now to 3128, monthly total 3183, and of course a yearly total 181,000, guys. Challenging day today. We were able to make our money early, and of course I did a great job at giving it back at the end of the day, guys. We'll take a look at that here in a second. But what's the most important that happened today? Well, the dollar, very sluggish. Once again, guys, we're continuing this week. The theme this week has been slow price action in the early morning, and then late in the morning we're seeing that dollar finally break out. Well, today didn't see any of that, right? Dollar kept going flat the whole morning. ATR was low, speed was low, really had a challenge, right, to kind of sit on those hands and wait patiently. Okay, so obviously made some mental mistakes that cost me profit today as well. This is one of the things we really want to make sure we avoid, and that is when it comes to a slow day like this, right? And I fell victim today myself, guys. A slow day like this, you start making up trades, right? You start forcing trades, right? So what did we learn today? Slow, sluggish day. I know it's tough, but you got to sit on those hands and wait for that perfect pattern. Right? I learned a valuable lesson today. Right? I hope you guys learned that valuable lesson along with me this morning, and that was just simply follow my rules. The 2 trades that I took that were losses didn't follow my rules. And so of course I'm kind of kicking myself this morning because gave back some pretty good money just because I was itching to take a trade late in the morning. Right, guys? You know what I'm talking about, right? You begin to start to search through your charts, right? Where can I find a trade that I can take here just because you haven't done anything this morning? Right, guys? Settle down, watch for the best patterns, guys, and we'll take a look at that loss here later on this morning. Now, first of all, here's my dollar. Now, guys, take a snapshot of this because the dollar, you can see here, what do we got? We get a couple things in the dollar. First thing I noticed right away in the dollar is, again, a very narrow trading range. Right? You can see just how narrow this trading range is. Now, we had an outside day, right? We were above the range below us, so you can see outside day, right, above the range from yesterday. So we're above the range, it's an outside day. Now that was pretty much the only good thing about this chart this morning. It was very narrow, right, narrow price action, and then the most important thing happened when we looked at the average true range. Now what do we see here? I see Monday, Tuesday, and now today, Wednesday. What do we see here? We saw, right, dropping. So as the week is progressing, we are getting lower and lower and lower. Now what does that mean? Well, of course, this is an ATR chart, which means as the week has been progressing, the trading ranges on the dollar have been getting narrower and narrower and narrower. Okay, so obviously the later we go in the week, the later we go in the day today was more challenging price action. We also notice down bottom here, right, there's your pace of tape indicator. And what do you see? At 8:30 this morning, that dollar is flat, right? Quiet. I want to see green pace of tape. I want to see, right, rising pace of tape. We saw just flat, choppy, slow speed, right? Narrowing ATR. And of course, a very narrow trading range on our charts. So that told us right away, guys, once again, another big heads up from the dollar. Now, what we thought was going to happen was what happened yesterday. We have to wait a little bit, and then eventually the market wakes up and we make our money. Wasn't so easy this morning, right? This morning, we didn't get any relief this morning from that sideways chop. Now, here's the crude oil. We'll start on crude first. Okay, first trade of the day was on crude. You can see here on crude, what do you see? You got it, right? There's my channel. Channel high. I'm sorry, this is my wedge, right? Wedge high, wedge low. Now, what do you guys see from there? We are right in the middle of this wedge. Okay, so wedge high up top, wedge low down bottom, and we are right in the middle of this wedge. Now, what ended up happening here today on the crude, you can see we had a sideways range here, right? Very narrow sideways range. Well, of course, what happened was when price broke out to the downside, we sold the breakout, right? If it would have bounced to the upside, I would have bought the breakout. Okay, if it would have bounced off the 99s, I would have sold the highs. Bounced off 45s, I'll buy the lows, all right? Didn't happen that way. Okay, what actually happened today was we broke down below 81.50, and of course, we sold those highs. Then, of course, we bought the lows as price broke back up and turned around. So price drops on crude, we sold the breakout. Price then settled down around the 81s, we then bought the bounce off the lows, right? Let's take a look here on the crude. First trade of the day here on crude, a little after 10 o'clock. We had 10 o'clock news this morning, right? We had 10 o'clock news. So, of course, you can see here in the upper right-hand corner, we had the big drop came after the news, right? So I missed the big drop after the news. Then at 10:05, my alarm goes off. I can now look for trades now. I mark up my next swing low. What did we see this morning? We saw sellers, right? Increasing speed as we were dropping. That confirmed the order to the downside. All right, so we make another break below that swing low. It's now after 10:05, so I can take this trade now after the 10:05 alarm went off. 81.12 is my fill. 2 off at 5 is 10, and that's all I got from it. Came down, bounced me out, and then kept dropping. We continue to see these choppy markets this week, guys. End of this month has been a rocky week. So we make 10 ticks on the drop. Nothing at all, right? And you can see what happened was, again, price action was having a hard time moving. Usually we see crude just drop, right? Didn't happen today though, right? Very choppy. 3 or 4 ticks down, 5 or 6 ticks back up. 4 or 5 ticks down, 5 or 6 ticks back up. Okay, so while the crude market here is chopping on down, I grabbed 10 ticks out of it before it bounced me out at my point of entry, right? That was the first trade today on crude, and it really kind of set the tone for what the entire day was going to look like. Next up, right, we had just finished this big move down. We then went through 10:30 news. You can notice here, beautiful two-step pattern. Break above that swing high. That's a great looking two-step pattern off those lows. Low